Let us now discuss about a new type of reaction which is exhibited by the organometallic complexes. Okay, so the reaction is known as insertion reaction, and along with these insertion reactions, we are going to discuss about elimination reactions also. Okay, because actually they are related. Okay, actually elimination reaction is actually reverse of this insertion reaction. Okay, so before going to discuss about this, insertion reaction in details, we have to go through some. Actually, we already know about oxidative addition reaction. No? So let's suppose this is your oxidative addition reactions. So before going to discuss about insertion reactions, let us now find out the difference between the insertion and oxidative addition reaction. Okay, insertion reaction. Okay, so basically in oxidative addition reaction, we know that the metal of that the metal which is in that organometallic complex will going to form two new bonds with two new groups or one molecules. Okay, XY we have already discussed in the previous video. And when they will going to form that new two new bonds that with that that means the metal and that groups, then the oxidation number also will going to increase by 2. Okay, but here in this case, in case of insertion reaction, actually they will also going to a group will going to insert between some metal and carbon bond or metal and ligand bond. Okay, but here in case of insertion reaction, the oxidation number will going to remain. That means the oxidation number of what, the metal, okay, of that organometallic complex will going to remain same. Okay, so that means in case of oxidative addition reactions, the oxidation number of the metal of the complex means organometallic complex. Okay, complex is increased by 2. Okay, but here in case of insertion reactions, the oxidation number of that metal will going to remain same. Okay, it will not going to change. This is the first difference. Okay, and the second difference is that here in case of oxidative addition reactions, the number of, that means the coordination number, actually the coordination number will going to increase, the coordination number of the metal, okay, by 2. Okay, that means they will going to, the metal will going to form two new bonds. So that's why the oxidation, that's why actually the oxidation number is actually increasing. Okay, because the metal will going to donate 2 electron, okay, to form that bond actually. Okay, that's why the oxidation number of the metal will going to decrease by 2. Oh, sorry, increase by 2. Okay, that means that they will going to lose 2 electrons. Okay, so here in the second point is that the what, the you can say the excuse me, the coordination number of the metal will increase by 2. Okay, that means it will going to form two new bonds, na? That's why the coordination number will going to increase by 2. Okay, so here, but in this case the coordination number of the metal will going to remain same. That means the final product will have the same coordination number of that metal. Okay, that means the metal will going to exhibit the same coordination number in case of the product also. Okay, so we're going to discuss this in details, but the thing is that here, why are we actually studying this insertion reactions? What is the importance of insertion reactions? Okay, so in organometallic chemistry, actually this insertion reaction is exhibited by what, organometallic complexes. Okay, so and in organometallic chemistry, actually these types of reactions, that means insertion reaction is a very important reactions, because in many catalytic cycle, okay, many catalytic cycles like the carboxylation carboxylations, that means the insertion of carbon monoxide into a metal carbon bond. Okay, so that suppose here we have some organometallic compound. Okay, some compound, and let's suppose this metal has some carbon bond, that means some ligand which have some carbon, let's suppose CH3. Okay, so sometime what happen, carbon monoxide can insert in between this bond. Okay, and they can form a new product. Okay, so this type of reaction is actually observed in many catalytic cycles. Okay, mainly this in insertion of carbon monoxide into the metal carbon bond. Okay, and the second example is that the insertion of ethylene. Okay, ethylene means CH2 double bond CH2. Okay, ethylene into a metal hydrogen bond, that means metal hydrogen bond, and with the metal some ligand will be there. Okay, and so these two actually examples are very important because these two are observed in some catalytic cycles. Okay, so that's why this reaction is important for us to understand, because nowadays the the catalyst is a very at a hot topic of research. Okay, because many people are doing research on catalysts to find out some new catalyst to do some reactions properly or in some some less time. Okay, and by which we can also reduce the cost of that reactions. Okay, so it is very important. Okay, that's why. So now let us discuss about the mechanism of this insertion reaction. Okay, so since insertion and the eliminations are related, okay, that means the elimination reaction is the reverse of insertion reactions. So if you understand the insertion reactions, then you have also some idea about the elimination reactions also. Okay, so now let's just discuss about the mechanism of that most probable mechanism of your insertion reaction. So let us now take an example of your insertion reactions, because to discuss about the mechanism we need a reaction. Okay, so a very well known and a classical example of this insertion reaction is actually the reaction between an organometallic complex which is made of manganese. So manganese, and here actually 5 carbonyl ligands is here. Okay, in this metal organometallic complex with along with the metal and carbon bond, that means carbon CH3. Okay, so when this organometallic complex will going to react with carbon monoxide, then it will going to give you CO5 manganese here. But here this ligand, that means this carbon monoxide will going to insert in this bond. Okay, this metal and carbon bond, that's why it is known as actually insertion reaction. Okay, and most most accurately we can say that this is actually an example of insertion of carbon monoxide into the metal and carbon bond. Okay, so it will going to form like here this carbonyl will going to insert, no? So they will going to insert in between this bond and it will going to form this organometallic complex. Okay, so interestingly the thing is that this again this complex will going to give back this original organometallic complex and the carbon monoxide, and we can get this one from this organometallic complex because it can actually exhibit the reverse reactions. Okay, so the forward reaction is actually known as insertion reactions, and actually the reverse reaction is actually your elimination reaction. Okay, so sometimes it is called as insertion reactions. Okay, because insertion here it is insertion, no? The forward reaction is insertion, so the backward reaction is, that means the reverse reaction is sometimes known as de-insertion. Okay, or sometimes it is known as decarboxylation, because this carbonyl group will going to remove from this organometallic product, no? And it will going to form this two. Okay, so, and most broadly we can say that this is an example of elimination reaction. Okay, so now we have a reaction. Okay, we have these reactions, and actually this reaction is given by or is found by NOAC and okay. So this is your example. Okay, so now let us discuss about the mechanism, actually how this carbonyl will going to insert in this bond. Okay, how this carbonyl will going to insert between this metal and carbon bond. So now let us discuss about the mechanism. Okay, actually there are two different mechanisms for these reactions. Actually two mechanisms are actually proposed by different scientists. Okay, so here the first mechanism is like this one. Okay, so let's suppose this is your metal organometallic complex. Okay, so we have this CH3, and let's suppose this is your carbonyl ligand. Okay, which is joined with this metal. Okay, so here if the carbonyl will going to insert this, actually this will going to insert in between this metal and carbon, then it will going to be like this one. Okay, ln m, this will going to break na. So if it will going to break, that means this part will going to be vacant. Okay, so the metal will going to have this vacant vacant site. Okay, so here then this will going to insert in this metal and carbon bond, and by inserting this bond sorry this carbonyl uh, this part, this ligand, it will be like this one. Okay, CH3. So this is actually known as your carbon monoxide insertion, carbon monoxide insertion path. Okay, so that means in this mechanism the carbon monoxide will going to insert in this metal and carbon bond. Okay, but the next mechanism, which is also, it will be like, let's suppose it is same compound. Okay, CH3, and here C triple bond. Okay, but here according to them, in the second mechanism, this will not go actually this bond will not going to break according to them. Okay, according to them, actually this methyl group will going to break, actually this metal and carbon bond will going to break first. Okay, and this carbon or this methyl group will going to attack at that carbon center. Okay, so it will be like this one, ln MC. So when it will going to form bond with this carbon, so there it will be your double bond, because the it will be CH3. Okay, to follow the octet rule, so it will become a double bond. Okay, so here when this CH3, that means this metal and carbon bond will going to break, then a vacant site will going to create it. Okay, and this part, actually the second part, is known as methyl migration. Okay, so now we have two, actually this is actually one, this is actually two. Okay, so actually two different part. Okay, so that means we have two different probable mechanisms. Maybe this reaction can follow this path, that means carbon monoxide will going to directly insert in this bond, that is metal and carbon bond. And the second part is that this bond will not going to break. Actually the methyl will going to actually the metal and carbon bond will going to break, and this methyl will going to attack at this carbon center. Okay, by forming a vacant site here. Okay, so now we have to decide. Okay, so we have to find out actually which one is actually most probable. Okay, that means which one is actually correct. Okay, so let us now discuss about or let us find out actually which one is actually correct one. Okay, now our objective is to find out the correct mechanism. Okay, so we have two mechanisms. One is the carbon monoxide insertion mechanism, and the second one is what, methyl migration. Okay, so now let us find out the correct mechanism. Okay, we can find out this correct mechanism by using a simple reaction. Okay, let's take the same organometallic complex of that manganese, CO5 CH3. Okay, and let us react with this one with carbon monoxide. Okay, so according to the first mechanism, that means carbon monoxide insertion, this carbon monoxide will going to insert in between this manganese and carbon. Okay, so is it right, is it correct? So let us find out this one. Okay, so experimentally we can actually do this reaction. Okay, so the thing is that here one technique we're going to use. Okay, and the technique is known as actually leveling. Okay, so we're going to level one element. Okay, so here actually, so we have to find out what we have to find out whether this carbonyl will going to insert in between this metal and carbon or not. Okay, so for that what we have to do, so we can actually use an radioactive carbonyl ligand. That means this carbon element we can take carbon 13 instead of carbon 12. Okay, because this can be this carbon 13 can be detected by some by using some analytical technique. Okay, so like infrared study, we can use infrared study to actually find out actually whether this carbon 30 will going to attack in this bond, that means metal and carbon, or not. Okay, so actually this is known as the tracking. Okay, we can track the reaction by using some radioactive element in that moving or in that attacking group. Okay, so actually this is your inorganic reaction, na? So here we use this leveling or this tracking technique, but although we are using this one here, that is inorganic chemistry, in organic chemistry also we used in vast amount. Okay, to find out the mechanism, because organic mechanisms are very interesting, because they will not going to give you only one product. In most organic reaction will going to produce more than one product. Okay, and it is very interesting to know about their mechanism. Okay, so here now coming to our main objective. So here you see we have to find out this one. Okay, so we can track now. So when we do this reaction, that means experimental reaction, that means in our lab, then interestingly what they observed that it will only exclusively, okay, it will only give the cis product. That means cis of your CH3 acetyl group. Okay, this is your manganese, and here 13 CO4. Okay, this is not cobalt. Okay, this is carbonyl. So here that means this acetyl group and this carbonyl group, that means which is all we use what, carbon 13. No, this carbonyl group which having this carbon 13 and this acetyl group will be always in cis to each other. Okay, it will never be in the transposition. So this will going to give you many information. Okay, so let us now get the information from these reactions. Okay, so what information can we get, or how we will going to use this reaction or this experimental reaction to prove that the first one, that means the first mechanism, is not correct, the second mechanism is actually the correct mechanism. So how we are going to do it? Okay, so for that, so we have only what information we have, the information about that this will only going to give you what, cis product. Okay, so now to understand this one, let us draw the structure of these complexes. Okay, so here this is your what, this is your manganese complex. Here how many ligands are there? Total 5 plus 1, that means 6. Okay, that means the coordination number is 6. That means this complex will be what, octahedral complex. Okay, so we know that the octahedral complex structure will be like this one. Okay, so here let's suppose this is your CO, let's suppose this is your CH3, CO, again CO, here again CO. Okay, so this is your this complex. Okay, this is the structure. Okay, so now here the structure of this one will be like Mn, here C double bond O, that means this acetyl group. Okay, CH3, here CO how many CO is there? 4 plus 5 now, total 5. 4 plus 1 5 CO, but amongst them one will be what? Carbon 13. Okay, so which one will be carbon 13? That means which one will have that carbon 13? Okay, so here they found what? Cis compound. That means excuse me, that means this acetyl group and this carbon nil with that carbon 13 will be cis to each other. Okay, so that means this group will be cis to that carbon 13. That means here you see this carbon, so this acetyl group is cis to this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, but this one, that means the carbon 13 cannot be here, because here this carbonyl and this acetyl group is trans to each other. Okay, but here this acetyl group will be your cis to this group or this group or this group. So any one of these four will be your C13. Okay, so let us suppose this is your C13. Understand? So now this is your product, this is your reactant. Okay, so what you have to do, you are actually just add this one. Okay, so this is your insertion reaction. So now the thing is that you see, according to the first principle, that mechanism, this carbon 13 will going to attack this position. Okay, so if this carbon 13 will going to attack this position, then actually what will be happen? It should be like this one, MnCO. So this will going to attack now. So if it will going to attack, then it will be carbon 13. You see, CO, 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 CO. Okay, this will be carbon 13. This, you see, but here it is not carbon 13. Carbon 13 is here. Okay, it may be here, it may be here, it may be here. It cannot be in the acetyl group. Okay, this carbon 13 cannot be in the acetyl group. That means what? That means this carbon 13 will not going to actually insert in between the metal and this carbon bond. Understand? Clear? Clear, no? So this process is not possible. That means the insertion process is carbon monoxide insertion mechanism is not correct. Okay, that means what we can say? We can say that this reaction, that means this is not an intermolecular insertion process. That means this carbonyl will not going to insert in this metal and carbon. Okay, this is actually intramolecular insertion. Intra. Okay, that means intra, INTRA, within this molecule. Now let us go to the second mechanism, or second probable mechanistic. Okay, so according to that mechanism, that CH3 will going to actually migrate to that carbonyl. Okay, so here you see this CH3 will actually going to migrate, or it will going to actually insert or migrate to the cis carbonyl. That means it can go, or it can migrate to the one of the carbonyl between this 5, which is cis to this carbon. That means you see this carbonyl is cis to this carbon, this carbonyl group is cis to this carbon, and this carbonyl is cis to this carbon, and this carbonyl is cis to this carbon, but this carbonyl is trans to this carbon. Okay, so that means this CH3 group cannot go from here to here. Why? The thing is that the concept is that because it cannot go, you see the distance, you see actually what is the distance from here to here? The distance from here to here and here to here and here to here, same distance. You see the distance are same. Understand? Do you understand this point? It will be like this one, no? This one. Okay, so this is your plane. It will be your upside plane, let's suppose CH3. So the distance from here to here is same, here to here to same distance. Okay, so it will be like the distance, if you rotate this one, then it will be like this one, no? So distance from here to here, or here to here, here to here, so same, but the distance from here to here is not same. Okay, it will be slightly longer. This part from here to here is longer part, no? So it have to travel longer path to attack this carbon. Okay, so it will going to attack the carbonyl ligand amongst this 4. Okay, it will not going to attack this trans group. Okay, so that's why it actually, let's suppose it will going to attack this carbonyl group. Okay, so if it will going to attack this carbonyl group, then it is going to give this type of product. You see, if it is going to attack, let's suppose the intermolecular part. Okay, so this carbonyl will go, sorry, this methyl group will going to attack to this carbonyl. So what will going to happen? You see, this is your triple bond, no? But it will become double bond, CH3. Okay, here manganese. So this part will be what? This part will be your vacant site now. Understand? Because this here, this coordinate side will be your vacant site. Why vacant site? Because here the CH3 was here initially in this, here you see in this molecule the CH3 is here. It was here. Okay, so the CH3 will go from here to here. Okay, so there are CO, and here CO, and here it is your CO. Understand? So now the insertion or the migration process is over. Okay, so the now migration process is over. Now what will going to happen? Now actually that CO3 13 will going to attack at the vacant site. Okay, it will going to attack at the vacant site, and it will going to form this product. Okay, so that means what? That means from this from this justification, what we can say? We can say that, or actually this is actually experiment. Okay, from this experimental evidence, okay, we can say that the carbon monoxide insertion mechanism is actually not a proper mechanism for this insertion reaction. Okay, we cannot actually this is not a correct mechanism. Okay, so actually instead of this carbon monoxide insertion process, methyl migration will going to occur intramolecularly. Okay, so it is not an intermolecular mechanism. Okay, understand? It is not an intermolecular insertion process. Clear? Hope you understand this part. Now we will going to discuss about the reverse reaction. Okay, and try to find out the additional mechanistic informations from this reverse reaction. Okay, so actually we are going to study about the elimination reaction of this this cis product. Okay, this is actually what the product of that your insertion reaction. Okay, but here in this case it will be act as a reactant. Okay, understand? Because this is your reverse reactions. Clear? Here we will going to use that principle of microscopy reversibility, because if the forward actually this actually the mechanism of the two reactions. Okay, this is actually the reverse reaction, no? The two reactions, the insertion and elimination reactions, this reaction must actually follow that must be reverse of each other according to the principle of microscopic reversibility. Okay, so according to principle of microscopic reversibility, what we can say? We can say that these two reactions are reversed to each other. Okay, now coming to the your this reactions, that elimination reactions. Here you see this is actually your this is what? This is your product of that insertion reactions, but in the elimination reaction it will be your reactant. Okay, so here we know that in the insertion reaction one carbonyl is actually introduced. Okay, when one carbonyl is introduced, that means in elimination reaction that carbonyl will go to removed, because this is your reverse reaction. Okay, so here the carbonyl will going to remove from this complex. Okay, so which carbonyl will going to remove now? We have to find out. Okay, so here you see here again this CH3 will going to form the bond with this metal, because in the insertion reaction the CH3 is actually CH3 is actually migrated from this metal carbon. Actually this CH3 was previously bonded with that metal, no? So this CH3 will going to now going to form bond with this metal. Okay, this metal by eliminating any one of this what carbonyl. This is the concept. Okay, elimination of this carbonyl. So now the thing is that to which position or which side actually it will going to occupy. This CH3 will going to occupy which side? This side or this side or this side or this side or this side. Okay, so we have to find out. So the thing here again there is a, you see, it is not possible for this CH3 to go from here to here, because it is not it will actually take uh, you see this, the distance between from here to here is very high, okay, a long part, okay. So it will not going to it will not going to attack here, okay. It will not going to form bond with the metal, and it will not going to take this position, okay, take this side. So that means this carbonyl will not going to break, okay. This metal carbonyl will not going to break, or this carbonyl will not going to eliminate it, okay. So remaining this one, this one, and this one, and this one, okay. So now we have to find out again. Here you see this carbonyl, actually this is what, this acetyl group, okay. The bond between this one and this one is actually 120 degree, okay. It should be like this one, actually 120 degree, okay. So here actually this carbonyl, this actually not carbonyl, this methyl group is near to this carbonyl, actually, okay, okay, far from this one and near to this carbonyl, okay. So the most probability is that there is just some steric repulsion, okay. So because of this carbonyl, the chance of removal or the chance of elimination of this carbonyl is the highest among these four, okay. And this will actually, the chance of the elimination of this one is the lowest among these four, okay. Understand? So that means this CH3 will going to replace, or this CH3 is going to take this side to form this metal and carbon bond with this CH3. Understand? And also this CH3 can form bond with this metal by using this side or this side, but this is slightly difficult than this one, okay. That's why you see, that's why the CH3 bond, you see, that's why this CH3 bond here or the CH3 bond here you see, CH3 and metal bond here is slightly difficult. That's why it will going to give you 25% product. But here you see this CH3 is near to this carbonyl, so the possibility to form bond with this metal with this CH3, okay, that means this CH3 will going to form bond with this metal by using this side, and if it will going to use this side, then the probability of that finding that particle is actually 50%, okay. That means we can get the 50% product if that CH3 will going to form that one, and the carbon monoxide will going to actually eliminate it from this side. Understand? So this is actually the what, elimination reaction, okay. Understand? And interestingly, the scientist, or you can say the chemist, okay, they actually try this try many reaction to find out the actual mechanism, which one is actually correct, okay. And they found actually this one correct. That means the second one, methyl migration, okay. So when somebody say that about carbon monoxide insertion, that means actually alkyl migration, okay, not carbon monoxide insertion. That means it will go, actually the alkyl will going to migrate to that intramolecularly, okay, intramolecularly it is going to migrate to one of the carbonyl ligand, okay. Understand? So when we are talking about this this reaction, or this insertion reactions, or that elimination reaction, we have to always we have to always several things we have to keep in mind, okay. And mainly the three things. The first thing is that it involves ligands which are cis to one another, and the second is that in the course of the reaction a vacant coordination become available. That means you see in the course of the reaction, so when you are going to see this one, you see here a vacant coordination site will be there, okay. A vacant coordination site will be available, okay, for the incoming carbonyl, okay, which is actually we used here. You see here we add this carbonyl. For this carbonyl, actually one vacant site will be always available, okay. This is the second point. And the third point is that the reverse reaction cannot occur unless a ligand is first eliminated, okay. This is also important. So that means this reverse reaction will only occur when the carbonyl will be going to actually eliminate it. First it must eliminate this carbonyl will going to or this carbonyl must eliminated first. Okay, because the here you see in this case, in this carbonyl there will be some more steric repulsion. Okay, that's why this will, the probability of the elimination of this carbonyl is higher than this one and this one. Okay, understand? So they will first, what this first of all, this will going to in the reverse reaction, that means this elimination reaction, this carbonyl will going to eliminate it first and it will create a vacant site. Then only this will going to come to that vacant site and going to form the bond with this metal. Understand? These are the three points which you have to memorize, or you have to actually understand. Okay, these 3 points when you are talking about the insertion reaction and also the elimination reaction. Actually the third step is third point is actually about the elimination reaction, and the first and second point is your the insertion reaction. Okay, understand? Now coming to the spontaneity of a reaction, actually why the reaction is occurring. Okay, so what is actually the driving force of this reaction? So let us now discuss about it. Okay, so we have these reactions, suppose this one. Okay, MnCO5 CH3. Okay, so this organometallic complex will going to react with carbon monoxide, and it, or that means carbonyl, and it will going to give you MnCO5 COCH3. Okay, so here the thing is that during these reactions, okay, so during this reaction actually what factor will going to drive this reaction? Okay, or why this process is spontaneous? So when we are talking about the driving force or the spontaneity of a reaction, so that we are talking about then what, this thermodynamics. Okay, actually thermodynamics second law, no? Second law will going to tell you whether a reaction is a spontaneous reaction or it is not a spontaneous process. So by knowing, actually I think you all know that if the del Z is negative, that means the change of Gibbs free energy for this reaction you have has some negative value, then this reaction is your spontaneous reactions. If it is your zero value, then it is at equilibrium, and when the del Z is greater than 0, then it will be your non-spontaneous process. Okay, and again we know that del G is equal to actually del H minus T del S. Okay, so we have the idea about this these relations from physical chemistry, thermodynamics chapter. Okay, mainly the second law. Actually second law is all about the spontaneity of a reaction and the entropy. Okay, so here if you notice this reaction, then what is the change actually? What changes occur during these reactions? Actually if you notice this reaction, then here actually first of all this reaction will be going to follow which mechanism? The second mechanism, that is your methyl migration. And in that methyl migrations, first process, at the first step, one metal and carbon bond will going to break. Okay, that means that CH3 bond. Okay, and that CH3 bond will going to migrate to the that's carbonyl, no? Then that means the carbon bond will going to form. Okay, that means you see here, let's suppose this is your CH3. Okay, and this is your carbonyl triple bond. Okay, so here this methyl group will going to, that means it will going to what, migrated to this carbon. That means this bond will going to break. Okay, that's why one metal carbon bond will going to break. Understand? That means this bond will going to break first, then again this will going to what, migrate to this center, no? That means this will going to form bond with this carbon. That means carbon bond will going to form. Okay, this is the first step. Okay, the next second step, in the second step what will going to happen? The incoming that carbonyl group, that means which is actually we carbon 13, no? We ate carbon 13 in that example, no? So here this will going to actually occupy this vacant site. Here it will go from this side to form bond with this carbon. Okay, this methyl group. So this part will going to be vacant. That means and this carbon will going to form the metal carbon bond. That means formation of metal carbon. So that means during this process, two bonds will going to break. One is metal carbon and another is, no sorry, one bond will going to break actually. First step, that metal carbon bond will going to break and two bond will going to form. That means carbon carbon bond will going to form and metal carbon bond will going to form. Okay, so here actually we can calculate the change of enthalpy during these reactions. Okay, or you can say that enthalpy of these reactions we can calculate. Okay, or we can even calculate the enthalpy of the bonds. Okay, bond enthalpies. So this is already we have discussed these things, how to calculate the enthalpy of the bond formation. Okay, formation of bonds. Okay, in chemical actually thermochemical studies or chemical thermodynamics. Okay, in chemical thermodynamics chapter we have already studied these things. Okay, heat of formation, heat of reactions, okay, enthalpy of vaporization, these all are in chemical thermodynamics. Okay, we can even calculate this del H value for each bond. That means how much energy actually del H is equal to what is del H? Del H is actually the enthalpy change. No? Actually this is nothing but the QP. Okay, that means the amount of heat required. Let's suppose we want to break some bond. Okay, let's suppose we want to break this metal and carbon bond, this bond. Okay, so here the del H means that how much heat we have to apply, okay, to break this bond at constant pressure. Okay, so that is your actually enthalpy of that to breaking the bond. Okay, that means the enthalpy change for that breaking of this bond. Understand? So we can calculate these things by calculating the heat. Okay, that means the heat of that heat required to break this bond at constant pressure, but it is important. Okay, at constant pressure. But if it is not constant pressure, then it will be your internal energy. Okay, if it is QV, then it will be your internal energy, change of internal energy, not change of enthalpy. Okay, it will become change of internal energy. Okay, so but here what we have to calculate, we have to calculate the change of enthalpy, because you see here del G, we want to calculate whether this reaction is spontaneous or not, or why this reaction is spontaneous. Okay, so here actually we are trying to calculate the del H of this reaction. Okay, that means change of enthalpy of these reactions, because here there is entropy. Okay, also we have to find out the change of entropy also. Okay, so here let us discuss about this thing. Okay, let us try to correlate these relations with this process. So now let us go to the depth. Okay, depth of this thermodynamics point of view, okay, of this reaction. So here first let's discuss about the entropy change. Okay, so here this one is what first of all, let's suppose this reaction. Okay, so here the reaction is this one. No? This is your reaction. Okay, so this is your organometallic complex and this is your carbon monoxide, which is what in gaseous form. Okay, so during this reaction you see the entropy will going to decrease. Sense of entropy, the reason behind is that during this reaction actually the gaseous particle, that means that this gaseous carbon monoxide, that means let's suppose this is 13. Okay, this will going to what, this will going to insert in this complex, no? Like this, you see this will going to migrate and this carbon monoxide will going to insert. That means it will going to form bond with this one. If it will going to form bond with this one, then what will going to happen? This gaseous particle will going to become a part of this organometallic complex. As a result, the randomness will going to decrease. Why? Because this is gas. We know the randomness of the gaseous particles is the highest. Okay, because they can move easily, they can move freely. Okay, so in case of gaseous particle, the randomness is higher. So when they will going to, here one molecule, here the gas molecule, they will going to form this product, then what will going to happen? The entropy will going to decrease. Okay, so that means we have this reaction, sorry, this relation. So that means this change will going to decrease. That means it will be negative. This will going to give a negative value. Okay, understand? This will going to give a negative value. Okay, so that means this negative in plus that means this into this negative, that means it will going to give a plus. Okay, that means the entropy factor, okay, That means this factor will going to actually inhibit these reactions. Okay, it will going to hinder this reaction. Okay, it will going to actually stop this reaction, try to stop this reaction. Okay, but we have to again we have to see also this factor also. Okay, del H. Okay, so actually del Z is depends upon these two factor. Okay, if it is negative, okay, if this is also negative, okay, and the net negative is actually, or you can say that if this is also negative and the del H is also negative and it become positive, na? And this positive value is if less than this one, if it is negative, that means let's suppose this is your -5 and let's suppose this will be +4. Okay, then what will going to happen? Then del G, net del G will be your negative. Understand? So that means also this del H, that means the change of enthalpy will going to actually determine this spontaneity of these reactions. Okay, the entropy will not going to determine, because entropy, no doubt entropy is actually it will going to give you negative value. That means it will going to retard these reactions. Okay, but the enthalpy change will going to actually drive this reaction. Okay, or it will actually tell us why this reaction is occurring. Okay, so actually we can calculate the del H value, and by calculating experimentally the del H value, actually it will going to give you -54 ±8 kilojoule per mole. Okay, for these reactions. So when you put this value here, then put this value in this reaction, then eventually you will going to get a negative del G value. Okay, understand? Clear? Yes. What is the meaning of this one? Why del H is equal to negative? Actually, the meaning of this one is that we have actually, you see, first of that M and R, that means CH3, this bond is going to break. Okay, so the breaking for this cleavage of this bone, some energy will going to absorbed. Okay, so we have to apply some energy, external energy. Okay, that means in form of, let's suppose, heat, we have to apply. Okay, when we apply some energy, then always remember del S is equal to positive. Okay, so we have to apply some Q value is positive value. Okay, so we have to apply some value, or we have to apply some heat to break this bond. Okay, and we able to understand that two new bone will going to form, and during this formation of bone, some energy will going to release. Okay, some energy will going to release, and this release of energy is actually more. And always remember, when the energy will going to release, then del S is equal to the value of this release amount of energy is always negative. Okay, so since this energy release is more than the energy absorbed to break this bond, okay, that's why we'll get the negative value of del H. Understand? So we can say that the driving force for this carbonyl insertion reaction is mainly coming from the value of del H, which is actually for this reaction is almost what, -54 kilojoule per mole. Okay, but here this one is this del S, the value will be also negative. Okay, but this will be not, actually the value of this one is less than this one. Okay, the magnitude of del S is equal to less than 54. Okay, if you try to calculate, then you will going to find it. Okay, so understand? So this is the thermodynamic point of view of this reaction. Now let us discuss about the second insertion reaction, which is actually a very important reaction, which is your insertion of olefin in metal hydrogen bond. Okay, so here the reaction will be like this. So here, let's suppose this is your metal hydrogen bond. Actually there will be there will be also some ligand will be present. Okay, so I'm not writing the ligands. Okay, so here let's suppose this is your olefin. This is just general olefin. Okay, here they will going to actually Cr2 and Cr2H. Okay, so this actually olefin will be going to inserted between this metal and hydrogen bond, okay, and they will going to form this R, Cr2, Cr2 and H, okay, understand. So the mechanism is actually when you will going to so before going to discuss the mechanism, why this is important, because the catalytic hydrogenation, okay, this is actually observed in catalytic hydrogen and hydroformal, okay, actually these two are actually just two examples of many important processes in in catalytic to organometallic chemistry, okay. So let us now discuss about mechanism, okay, the most probable mechanisms. So the mechanism part actually, let's suppose this is your olefin, okay, this is the olefin, and the first step, in the first step this olefin will going to coordinate it with to the metal hydrogen bond, okay. So let's suppose this they will going to coordinate like this, okay. Then in the second step actually they will going to form a transition state, okay, excuse me, they will going to form a transition state like this, four centered, okay, this is actually four centered transition state will going to form, and this transition state is actually your planar. That means you can say that transition state involves a four centered planar structure, okay. And we all know that the transition states are not stable, and they will going to what, they will going to form a stable product, okay. That means this bond will going to break, this metal hydrogen bond will going to break, and these two new bond will going to form, okay. So it will become like this one, carbon metal, and here one bond, carbon carbon, okay. So this is the product, okay. So this is an example of actually catalytic hydrogenation reaction, okay. So now let us discuss about the reaction mechanism of the beta elimination reaction, okay. So the beta elimination reaction, so let's suppose your reaction is like this one, this is a metal, okay, and there will be some ligand, okay. So in that ligand, this is the alpha position, okay, this alpha position CH2, let's suppose this is your beta position CH2, and this is your R. So the condition is that the metal, this one is metal, and this is the ligand. The ligand must have, that means the ligand must have the beta hydrogen. Here you see this is the alpha carbon, this is beta carbon. In that beta carbon must one hydrogen must be present there, okay. If no hydrogen is there, then you cannot we cannot observe the beta elimination reaction, okay. So the steps are like this, you see. First of all, a complex alkene complex will going to form, and that complex is known as metal hydrido-alkene complex, okay. So actually the structure will be like this one, this is your CH2 CH are actually by that migration of one hydrogen, here you see this is the alpha, this is the beta position, you see actually this part, okay. CH2, this is CH2 and this is CH2, actually this hydrogen, that one hydrogen from this beta position will going to migrate, okay, from this carbon to that metal, okay. So for that actually the metal must have also some vacant site, okay, some vacant site must be there. That means some orbital must be there in which this hydrogen can form bond with this metal, okay. So when this will going to form, then what will going to happen, some actually this complex, okay, this complex is known as what, metal hydrido-alkene complex, okay. Metal, since this metal is there, metal hydrido, okay, hydrido, this is hydrido, okay, this is what, alkene, okay, alkene, metal hydrido-alkene complex, understand, this is the metal hydrido-alkene complex, and from this complex actually this bond will going to break, and the metal hydrogen bond will going to form, and we will going to get that olefin, okay. H, this is H, and this is R. So this is the actually an example of beta elimination reaction, understand. So now let us talk about this, the condition actually which must be there to exhibit that beta elimination hydrogen. So we have already discussed that there must be the beta hydrogen present in that ligand, okay, which is actually connected with that metal, okay, to exhibit that beta elimination reaction. So if let's suppose this metal we're going to have this ligand CH2PH, is it possible for this complex to exhibit the beta elimination reaction? No, it will not going to give. Why? Because it has alpha hydrogen but it does not have the beta hydrogen, okay. Yeah, because it will be like this one, na? Metal CH2, this is a benzene, na? Benzene. So here hydrogen, 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 okay, but here no hydrogen is present in the beta carbon, so it will not going to exhibit the beta elimination reactions. Similarly also MCH3, no beta carbon is there, okay, so it will not going to exhibit the beta elimination. Similarly this one also, CH2 C CH3 CH3 CH3, okay. Okay, so here also no hydrogen is present, okay, no beta hydrogen, so it will also not going to exhibit that beta elimination reactions. Also, if the hydrogen beta, if the beta hydrogen is too far from the metal, also it will not going to observe the beta elimination reaction. For example, this one, let's suppose MC, triple bond CH. So this is too far from each other. It can, if it is in this position, okay, if it here you see it is like transposition, it is like similar to the transposition, no? So it will be very difficult for this hydrogen to come from here to here. That means this hydrogen cannot insert in it cannot migrate to this position to form bond with this metal, okay. So it is very far from this metal, so it will not also going to exhibit that beta elimination reaction. One more important point is that the beta elimination cannot take place unless there is a vacant site, okay, for the hydrogen to occupy in the de-insertion step. So we have already discussed about this one. So if the metal does not have any vacant site, then this hydrogen will not going to, this beta hydrogen will not going to migrate, okay. This will not going to come from here to here, okay. So it has some vacant site to form that bond, okay. So as for example, if we can take an example, okay, of 18 electron complex like this one, okay, like iron complex, which is actually cyclopentadienyl CO, okay, CO, this is CH2 CH3, okay. But here this metal has, you see, this metal has a ligand which has what, hydrogen, beta hydrogen, okay. You see, this is alpha, this is beta. So in the beta carbon hydrogen is present, but this is Cp not Cl, okay. But if you count the number of electron of this iron, then it will going to give you 18 electrons. So that means it is not possible for that hydrogen to come from here to here, okay, because it does not have any vacant site to form that bond, okay. If it will going to form that bond, then it will going to exceed that 18 electron rule, which is going to destabilize this compound, okay, destabilize the final product. So actually this is actually kinetically inert, okay. That means this is kinetically, this complex is, we can say that this complex is kinetically inert for the beta elimination reactions. Understands? Hope you understands. Next class we will going to discuss about the nucleophilic and electrophilic effect of coordinated ligand, okay.